Hey man, how you doing?
Let me readjust this for a second.
Sure. Good to see you.
Nice to see you, buddy.
I think the last time I saw you was the holiday party for
Yeah,
Young ODs.
much much better times back then.
Yeah, I miss, the human element. It's not the
Yeah,
same.
yeah,
Well, thanks for joining us. For those who don't know, Dr. Jason Tu, he's a San Diego optometrist. He's president of the California Optometric Association, and he's our fantastic guest for today. I appreciate you coming on.
yeah. No problem at all. Thanks for having me. Really,
Yeah.
really, I follow a lot of your stuff because literally we are like 2 blocks over neighbors. Uh,
Yep.
we find out, and we were supposed to get together a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and then life gets in the way, and then here we are.
I did
Weeks
bail on you the
later.
last second. I owe you one on that
No,
one.
no, it's all right. I was just thinking two blocks over, and even now, even if we wanted to, we couldn't get together.
I know and now CDC and I guess the president's advising folks to wear masks or cloth or scarf or something. So
Yep.
it's gonna I guess get worse before it gets better. But let's jump into it. So how are California ODs kind of being impacted by coronavirus, perhaps different than other locations? And I'm sure you're aware and hearing lots of different stories. Being president of COA.
Yeah. So good and bad. We were one of the first states to close the whole state down,
Hmm.
which was good in trying to flatten this curve and doing our part. And optometry, especially, we've been doing our part since the beginning. But the bad is now we're shut down. Now
Yeah.
we're not getting any production out of our practices. Now we're doing the public good, and but at the same time we're making sacrifices for the public good, trying to flatten these curves for or to get the whole world back into to normalcy again. So there are lots and lots of sacrifices being made. The vast majority of us have closed our offices down to any kind of routine care, and now we're only seeing emergency care. And here at our office, we see maybe one, maybe two a day.
Yep.
And depending on what it is, I mean, like I would, half of it is triage on the phone by an incredible, I have a couple of incredible staff who have agreed to stay on to just do skeleton crew things around the office. Mostly they answer phone and triage. And the vast majority of those people who call up are able to be reassured that what they have is not an emergency. They should not be leaving their house just to come in to see us for something like that.
Right.
But the ones who definitely need us, we're here for.
Yep.
For example, today we had a colleague call, one of my colleagues from actually one of my classmates call from LA. He's like, "Hey, I've got a patient who actually lives in San Diego. He's got sudden onset of flashes and floaters. I mean, he before he had LASIK, he was a very high myope. So
Hmm.
our wheels are turning. We're thinking, okay, this could be a potentially like a bad retinal detachment happening, right?
Sure.
So now what's the decision is, and this is where we have to come in as doctors and make a decision. What's the decision here? Do we bring them in, dilate them, take a look, affirm that it is a retinal detachment, then send them out to the retinal specialist to get care, to get a surgery done? Normally, yes. Today on a Friday afternoon, I know these guys work to a certain hour, right? And
Yep.
if let's say they come in, I find out truly it is a retinal detachment. Now I got to send to them, but hey, my retinal surgeon is no longer there. He's gone for the weekend. What do you do
Right.
now?
Right.
So instead of doing that, we sent them directly there. If it turns out to be nothing, no harm, no foul. But if
Yep.
it's something that had to be taken care of, now they're taken care of.
Yeah. Trying to just skip a step there and get people the care they
Exactly,
need
exactly.
quickly.
There's
Yeah.
no need to come see me to verify.
Yep. Yeah. Things are certainly, and this really hasn't ever hit the medical or just, if we look at 9/11 and the recession or whatever came after that, if we look at the financial crisis, these things did not impact us even close to what
Yeah.
we're experiencing now. And you were an OD during the last time that the economy had a big issue. And I think maybe growth that in that time was flat or slightly
Yes.
negative for some. This is just an order just off the scale
Yeah.
different.
This is a whole. I mean, when was the last time the world was organized against one common enemy?
Right.
I mean, you think back. I mean, we're talking talking maybe World War II,
Yep.
that we were all organized against something. This is we put out there right away, made the offer, no dues for the next 2 months.
Hmm.
And we're said, hey, we're like, hey, financially, we're going to have to make some changes. Financially, we're going to have to get our house in order and strip down to essential services, strip down to essential personnel, but we can match this. And the thing is, that's the least we can do for our fellow optometrists in California who are going to be going through this. And what we foresee, even back then, we foresaw this to be a big, big impact. And it's turned out to be true. So that's the very first thing we did. And then from there, we went out and based on those 2 free months of dues, now we're like, hey, there's no reason for you not to join, because there are so many member benefits that now, for the next 2 months, even if you don't want to be a member, sign up and be a member, take advantage of those benefits. And those benefits, the very first, most important one right now, a lot of people are using is the attorneys on our staff with us. You have free access to these attorneys to ask all these questions that everyone is going through personally, with their business, with everything. That's one of the biggest benefits being used right now. And then, of course, COA staff, COA board has been working 24/7 to put out as much resources as we can, to put out as much information as we can on our page, and it's coavision.org. If
Yep.
you go on that page, you're going to find all kinds of information about how do you apply for a loan? Does it apply to you? What access do I have to CEs? I mean, we've been working with the State Board of Optometry forever, and I got to tell you, I mean, it's a government agency, so it moves kind of slow, and we've been pushing and pushing and pushing and telling them, hey, there are people's licenses coming up that aren't going to get renewed because they're missing CE, and they can't get it right now because they have to stay at home. So now, finally, circumvented that. Now the governor extended out for 2 months, 60 days.
I
So
saw
at
that.
least we got a little reprieve there. But I don't think that's going to be it. It's going to probably have to extend that a little bit longer.
Yes.
And we're trying to work on them to try to make live webinar CEs be as if it was live.
Yes. No, I love it. Yeah, COAvision.org is where I think I first saw about the disaster relief loan, and you guys really do have great resources there. So thanks for getting all that up. Are you finding that that most ODs are asking the one question right now of how do I get the disaster relief loan? How do I get the Paycheck Protection Program, which is through the CARES Act, the
Yes.
SBA 7A
Yeah.
loan,
Especially
and
today.
especially today. Yeah,
Especially today.
we are applying for it as a business, and JP Morgan Chase, who we do it through, is I think they just maybe opened up the ability to do it. I was reading that I think it was Bank of America was ready to offer it for folks with business and personal accounts only. I think it's a little bit of a mess, and it hasn't been as smooth as Treasury Secretary said it would be. What are you
Yeah.
guys finding?
Yeah. Right now, it's a huge mess. It's a huge mess. So literally, if you guys know my partner Mick Kling, he's a financial whiz. He
Hmm.
knows this stuff back and forth, and he gave a webinar last night to our. I'm part of Vision Source, and he gave a webinar to Vision Source members on how to attack this thing, how to apply this thing, what steps to take, all the ins and outs, right? And I just had a sit down with him today to go through our process. He's like, JT, the webinar I gave last night is now obsolete.
Yeah.
The application I just downloaded says something completely different from what I said last night.
Yeah.
That's how crazy and how chaotic it is right now. And this is why a lot of the banks are saying, no, hold off. We're not taking any applications because they don't know.
Now, do
They
you
don't.
think that would you say 100% of California optometrists are going to be using that SBA 7A loan? Or is there a proportion of folks that are like, nope, I'm good? And what did they do that was so special, if that is the case?
Let me put it this way. 100% of us should be applying for that loan.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, we should be applying for that loan because if you do things correctly and you're using this loan, 75% of this loan minimum to pay for your staff payroll, it's going to be forgiven. So there's absolutely no reason not to apply for this loan. Absolutely none.
Yeah. And for those listening that aren't aware, there are lots of resources on there. What we're talking about is the stimulus plan that specifically is has been orchestrated to allow payroll to be covered. Well, this is the way it works as an optometric employer. If you will get a loan from the Small Business Association, SBA, backed, and guaranteed through the federal government to be able to cover payroll for your employees for up to 8 weeks, and that will be completely forgiven, which essentially it turns into a grant at that point.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone's talking about, because what they want to do is keep their employees on, so those employees obviously don't need to part ways with them, and then ultimately that helps to stimulate the economy, keep dollars in everyone's pockets. But it's only 8 weeks, right? So you'll get forgiven for 8 weeks of it, and now you're seeing news of Nancy Pelosi saying we need more. Maybe there'll be another stimulus. We're not sure.
Yeah. So my and this is me personally, Jason too, saying this. I'm not a professional. Okay, let's make sure we qualify this. Personally, from my perspective, I mean, even just yesterday, the Mnuchin said that
Yep.
$350 billion is going to go fairly fast because
Yeah.
we are a very small slice. You think optometry is your world because that's where the world you live in, but we're a very small slice of these people who are applying for this. That $350 billion would it be is going to go fairly quickly. And he already said yesterday, we're going to keep supplying that even after it goes over 350. He's already said that because he knows this is not going to be enough. And my gut feel is that I'll guarantee you, they're already right now probably working on the next stimulus bill because this is not going to be enough.
Yeah. Oh, it's monumental.
Yeah.
How can COA help, or how do we make sure that at a time like this we use it advantageously to help optometry emerge as more on the front lines of primary care, primary health? Because it is a time of change, and when there's a lot of change, there potentially is opportunity, right? How can we move optometry forward like that to show that we could be necessary during times of need like this and beyond?
Well, yeah, you're right. And this is a belief I hang on to, is like every adversity brings opportunity.
Sure.
And one of the opportunities for us as an association, I mean, as a practice, you find out very quickly who's important to you and who's not, what's important to you, what's not, what you can do on a minimum skeleton crew and what you can't. On an association level, this has really shown us, it's taught us how to move really quickly, respond quickly, and be nimble, be as nimble as we can, which is something that we've been wanting to do with this association and want to transform this association for a while. We want to be as nimble as we can. We want to be as responsive as we can, but, and we've had to tighten our belts so that we can operate, still provide all the benefits of membership, but with the bare minimum essential resources.
Mm-hmm.
So that we learned very quickly how to do that, and we are continuing to find ways to do that. And you get down to, but the important thing is that we don't let the benefits to the membership suffer.
Mm-hmm.
So in this time, we're actually providing, and if like you said, you've checked the website. We're providing way more information and resources than we ever have.
Right.
Even going down to essential resources.
Right. Yeah, no, I love it. How can you guys, or what is the plan to activate resources, whether it's staff, dollars, to get ahead? And is there a clear plan, or is it just kind of taking it day by day at this point?
At this point, we're taking it day by day and then week by week. I mean, information change. This whole crisis, information has changed literally from hour to hour.
Right.
Like for example, like what I just talked about my partner, from last night to this morning, things changed. So we're taking this day by day. I've never been in contact with my board or COA staff more than I am right now. It's literally every single day, every single morning, check in with staff. What's going on? What's on the agenda today? What are we doing today? By the way, what we talked about doing yesterday, we can't do that today. It's different. Things are completely different now. You see the background. I mean, I'm in the office right now because I was, we're here seeing patients. I saw one.
Yeah. Busy day.
Yeah, exactly. But not busy as far as patient care, but Definitely busy. I mean, I'm in this office 8, 10, 12 hours a day,
Hmm.
doing COA business. So it's we are constantly working 24/7 for our membership. And like I said earlier, go on to coavision.org. If you're not a member yet, there's absolutely no reason. Join, be a member. It's free for the next 2 months. And if you are a member, access that resource. All the answers that you have questions to, it's on there.
Yep.
You just got a
Yep.
couple of clicks and you'll find it.
Yep. Absolutely. For those of you that know me, you know I don't see patients anymore or that often, and I'm still a member. So do it. So, you know, with I saw, you know, as this bill, before the bill was passed, I saw on AOA's website there, what can happen now, or how can resources be used now legislatively? Are there any things in the oven legislatively that are baking, that are going to help us maybe in a few months or however long from now during
Yeah,
this particular time?
good
And for
point.
those,
Legislature is on recess because of this thing.
mhm,
So there's no business being done. But that does not mean that our advocacy team is just hanging out doing nothing.
right,
We are definitely still actively putting together language for legislation that we're going to be putting forth. One of the things that we're working on now, even I mean today, I was getting a couple of emails from Christine Schultz, who's our advocacy staff. You know, talking about moving forward, how do we want to position COA or professional optometry as it relates to telehealth, as it relates to online exams and online refraction? How do you qualify? How do you balance between accepting and embracing new technologies that can benefit the public, but at the
right,
same time safeguarding the public?
right.
You got to balance those two things out. Embrace new technology, but make sure you're safeguarding the public health.
How do you
So
think
we're
telehealth
definitely
might,
working on
oh,
that.
how do you think telehealth might fit into that conversation? I mean, you know, I talked with Howard Freed today from Digital Optometrics, friend of mine. You're looking at Teladoc stock through the roof, carrying all these mutual funds. Thanks for that thing being up 100%. I mean, telehealth is more of a topic than ever, and I think it's going to change not only consumer behavior, it's going to change political behavior. It's going to change the way we think about it. How, I mean, both personal opinion, the way COA is thinking about it, are there opportunities there? Clearly, this is something important to address.
Yeah, I mean, this is what used to be. Both of us live here in San Diego, and we know in San Diego there's an optometrist pretty much every other block, and you can
Yes,
throw a
sir.
stone and hit one.
Yep.
So there was never a need, urgency for telehealth here. And we used to have this mindset that, hey, telehealth was for, like, Oklahoma, Kentucky, rural areas where there's you have to drive like a couple of hours just to go see a doc.
Sure.
So it made sense there. But now this crisis has put this right at their doorsteps. I mean, now it's not no longer on the back burner. It's reality. This is what we're going to. This is what's in the future. This is no longer, like you said, this is no longer a discussion as far as an idea. This is going to be part of our future. This is going to be it's going to change the mindset of consumers. It's going to change the mindset of, I mean, guys like me who never thought I would need something like that.
Right.
And like you said, the legislature, the politicians are going to look at this and go, hey, this may be something that, even though we're San Diego, maybe we should make this a little bit more relaxed. Maybe we should welcome this a little bit more and make it available to the public to go see their doctor virtually. Now, like I said, my opinion and COA's official opinion happen to coincide on this one. That's fine. I totally embrace technology. I love technology. Obviously, we're doing it right now. But you have to balance that with safeguarding the public. You don't want to go down a pathway where it's the wild, wild west and everything goes, and now you're putting public health at risk. You
Right.
definitely want to put down some guardrails to make sure we stay in. We have to define certain things, and just to make sure the public doesn't get harmed, uh, by a couple of yahoos out there who are doing whatever they want to do.
Yeah. I always like the idea of telehealth being a bridge between our current patients or new patients and us versus telehealth being a bridge between um, a corporation that really wasn't comprised of the OD or of the individual that has the most knowledge on the topic. So hopefully that's the way it emerges, right?
Yeah.
My being able to connect with my patients who I've met in person before, through a means that there's trust built up. I understand their background. I understand their records. That I think sits a little bit better than, this app and they just go around the OD. That would
Yeah.
be a little more troubling.
I think you're going to find that patients in general value the relationship they have with their doctors, whether or not it be us who they see once, maybe twice, 3 times a year,
Right.
or the dentist that they see 2 or 3 times a year, or their regular doctor, or primary care doctors. They value a relationship. They want to go to someone they trust, and you
Yeah.
don't build trust going through a corporation's app to get your care.
Yeah.
There are some people who don't care,
Yeah.
obviously, right? But I deeply feel this. My personal feeling is that the vast majority of patients care about a relationship with their doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that you're president of the COA, congratulations, of course, by the way.
Thank you.
What is that? I mean, you've been an OD in California your whole life. Like how do you think through the process of making decisions? Sunit's here again. Hey, Sunit. Ask questions, by the way, in the comments, guys. If you have questions, we're going to be wrapping up in a bit. So how do you juggle, putting on your OD hat and thinking through the changes that need to happen, the benefits that need to happen, the growth that needs to happen in optometry, but then also having the presidential hat on now? What's your thought process been like? What is it like wearing both of those hats?
Well, I mean, believe it or not, I have like 4 hats that I put on, and each one, you have to compartmentalize your decision-making process. What's good for my practice may not be good for your practice, may not be what I would say as your COA president. Luckily for you guys, it's not just me. Luckily for you guys, you have a phenomenal board that serves with me, that gives me advice, that helps me to come up with these decisions. It's
Right.
not just me. And also, you guys are very lucky to have phenomenal COA staff who are cranking it right now 24/7 because they have to, right? Who is helping me with all this stuff. I mean, if it were up to me and it was just me alone, you would see misstep after misstep after misstep, right? And then, but with the help of the board, with the help of the staff, we've been able to do some pretty good things, and we've been able to put forth some really good resources and try to help as many people as we can. And then, like for example, just earlier today, I'm sitting down there meeting with my leadership team, and for the practice, I'm not thinking about COA. I'm thinking about, okay, what loan do we go for? What do we put on the loan thing? How many FTEs do we have? What's our, you just got to zero in on this is the practice. I have to make these decisions for the practice. And then sitting back now, I'm talking to you, and we're talking COA.
Right.
Completely different hat, completely different thinking. I mean, you just got to shift gear.
Yep. Got it. 2 questions here, Jason, if you want to take this one. I know COA had some changes with staff, if you want to take that one. And then also there's a new graduate here. Let's get to this one. And then I've got one more too.
Okay. So yeah, we did, I can't, because of legal counsel, we have those guys on our side. I can't talk about personnel issues publicly, but we had to make some decisions as far as tightening our belts. And this decisions was made by the ED, executive director, to go down to essential resources. That's about as much as I can say.
Okay. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll be graduating in May 2020. How do you expect job opportunities to look once this is all over, especially in SoCal, decrease due to a struggling economy? So in one sec, Jason, if you sorry, what I want to say to that is, first off, a shameless plug. On the 21st and 22nd of April,
yeah, I saw that.
We're hosting a virtual career fair on covalentcareers.com. So please check that out. We sent out the email if you didn't see it, and if you go to covalentcareers.com/ I think it's virtual-career-fair, you can register for that. I think that the job opportunities it'll be a better market for ODs. prior to this, it was a little bit difficult for employers to find staff because it wasn't enough ODs to fill the amount of positions. We'll see the way things change, but it may be a little more tricky, especially in a place like San Diego. But I don't think you're going to be out on the streets not finding anything. But once again, we'll have to see what happens with coronavirus. Yeah. Jason, thoughts on that?
I agree with that. There's no magic 8-ball to tell us what's going to happen in a couple of months, or even how long this thing's going to last. That's the thing that's causing a lot of anxiety, is we have no idea how long this is going to last.
Right.
But moving forward with that, in a place like San Diego, it's a little bit tough. It's a tough market. I mean, it's saturated. But we had a couple of interns here before all this stuff hit. We had a couple of interns here who already had jobs lined up.
Yeah.
They're not here, but there are jobs out there. It's just a matter of how willing are you to move? How willing are you to live in certain places? But they're out there. I mean, we're talking, one of my interns was leaving and going, "Hey, see you later, Dr. Sue. I'm going on here to make 6 figures."
Right.
It's like, holy crap.
Yep.
But it's out there.
Yeah, I think we ran a little poll on our coronavirus resource center, covalentcareers.com/coronavirus. And I'm remembering before there was around 300 or so responses. And I think that roughly 13% of ODs who answered that were laid off. So if you're going to have more ODs in the market and they're all going to be looking for a probably smaller number of jobs, I do think it will be more difficult. And at that point, go back to the things I've preached on or wrote ebooks on or have done panel talks on. You have got to provide value to that practice. So now more than ever, it's going to be much more than just seeing patients and providing care. But how do you help that practice grow with marketing, with advertising, boots on the ground? What can you do to help that practice, win? See, so now we got all the questions, and now it's hard to field them all. Or increased bounce back take on likely influx of routine exams. Jason, do you predict that there's going to be a huge boost, or as President Trump is saying, it's all pent up, it's going to just skyrocket?
I think in the beginning, this is my gut feel on this. In the beginning, I think people are going to be a little skittish getting out. Like, what if I go out and I catch it, right? What if it's still out there? But the vast majority of our patients, I mean, they're gung-ho. They can't wait to get back in. I mean, we have patients calling, "Hey, when can I come in and get a routine exam?" It's like, yeah. Whoa! We're still on shelter in place here. Let's settle down. But yeah, no, I think there's going to be a little bit of a ramp up in the beginning, because people are, let's say May 1st. Okay, everyone, we're no longer shelter in place. Go back to about your normal business. I guarantee you, there's going to be a large chunk of the population that will be like this, like. Is it safe?
Yeah. Yep.
There's going to be a lot of people like that. And then there's going to be the other group who would be like, boom, I'm out of here.
Yep.
I'm going to see everything back. Life is back to normal. If the officials say it's normal, it's normal. I'm going to see my doctor.
Yep.
So yeah, I think at some point it's going to ramp up, and once it hits, it's going to hit.
Yep. Hopefully. Did COA partner with any banks to help with the Paycheck Protection Program? Any partnerships there? Just any recommendations of what COA is recommending ODs do?
Right now, my recommendation to you is hopefully you've got a relationship with some bank. And also, like for example, like you said earlier, B of A has been really good, but only if you have a relationship with them.
Right.
And this is what it comes down to. All the banks, well, the vast majority of the banks are ready to do this. They're willing to participate. The reason why we're having a hard time, the reason why you're having a hard time right now is they're still unclear as to what SBA wants them to do, what criteria they're looking for. And the thing is, they don't want to go out there, throw money away, and then realize later, oh, you should have done this, this, and this. I mean,
right.
Bankers are naturally cautious people. They're they're loaning out a lot of money.
Yep.
So a lot of them are very hesitant. So if you have a relationship with any of the banks at all, fortunately for us, we do have a relationship with a local bank. They're not a big bank at all. And the thing is, you don't have to be a big bank.
You don't have to be.
We have a relationship with a local bank, so we are got our application together. We're submitting it, just like everybody else.
Yep. Yeah, I think and my mentor really kind of hammered this home prior to all this happening. Is like, you have to have some sort of relationship with a bank set up, particularly recommending that our business have a line of credit that we could access. And I'm so glad we did that, because You know, line of credit's a little different than a loan, obviously. You pay a fee to maintain the line of credit, but you only use it if you need it, and it's less than what a credit card will cost. It's more of a process with paperwork and all that, but that thing saved us last year, unrelated to coronavirus. But now that this is obviously happening, not only do we have a relationship with the bank, but the bank's got all of our forms on file, and it's just a much faster transaction for us to get access to that to that loan money. Now, in addition to that, it's also great that we have this line of credit as a backup. So for the practice owners out there, or those that are thinking about opening cold one day, just think about it's very important to have much more than a credit card there, but some sort of debt instrument you can use should you need it. Is
Yeah,
there? Yeah, go ahead.
this is one of the things that I think has opened a lot of doctors' eyes, at least the ones who own their own business. They're realizing more and more now, especially during this time, is you do have to have an actual relationship with a banker, with a local bank that you know, that you can talk to, that knows you, that has your information, that knows what kind of business you run. So when the time comes, and especially in a time like this, that relationship's going to pay off.
That's right, 100%. This individual here, he wants to know, is there any recommendations for when to start seeing patients? I work with children with low vision, ROP, RP. Is that considered an emergency? That's a good question.
That's a great question. That falls under professional judgment.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was working personally, for me, if I was working with children who needed that kind of care, who needed that kind of access to me, I can't see myself saying no.
Right.
That's
I'm with
pretty,
you there. I'm with
that's
you
pretty
there.
urgent. That's
Yeah.
pretty urgent.
Yeah, it's a very much a lifestyle thing at that
Yeah.
point.
I mean,
And,
it's
you know,
definitely not routine.
no, I'm with you there. The ophthalmologist I work with still wants me to see patients for now, but I think we should not see any patients other than emergencies. It's what you're doing, right, Jason?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would err
I
on that.
actually have a couple of colleagues of mine who are in these situations.
Yep.
They are being told, because they're employees, they're being told, no, you're coming in and you're going to see routine patients, routine eye exam. And unfortunately, right now, there is no mandate from state or local government to not see routine patients. It's
Right.
only a recommendation.
Right.
Also with the CDC, it's a recommendation, unfortunately, right now. So we don't really have a legal standing to say no.
Right.
But personally, I know of one local doctor who said, personally, I'm not going to come in.
Right.
And they put their foot down and said, no, professionally, I don't think this is the right thing to do. So it's legally, they can't ask you to continue to go see routine patient, because right now all the other stuff that's being put up is on their recommendations. Hopefully that changes soon. I don't understand why it hasn't.
Right.
But that's where we are.
Yeah, it always seems that just as a whole, we've always been one step behind the coronavirus, and I think that is unfortunately not a good thing. Obviously, the virus is going to move faster than us, and everyone's learning a lot about what it really means to be compounding and exponential. No one will forever get the lessons of that, whether it's stock market losses or coronavirus.
Once sees that graph, right?
Yep, exactly. I finally got a haircut. I had to go to my barber's house. That was a risk, but my hair was exponentially growing as well. Feeling better now.
Right.
Yeah. My last question, how do we restore the public's confidence in going to optometry offices once things do bounce back? Look, I mean, the headlines will say it's safe to go out, it's safe to do this or that, but people will be hesitant. So, is there 1 or 3 or 5 tips that an OD can really think through when it comes time, or anything COA is recommending to say, look, CDC saying it's okay, who is saying it's okay, whatever, but still just getting our patients to come back? What should we be telling them?
There's a couple of things I think that's going to help a lot is during this time, the fact that we're making ourselves available for emergency care, I think speaks volume to the public, to our local community, that says, hey, Dr. Kling and Dr. Tu don't have to see me. They can shut their office down and be done with it so that they don't get infected, they don't take the chance, but they're there for me.
Right.
I had a problem. I had something in my eye. It was embedded. It was really painful. Came down. They took it out. They took care of me during that time. I think moving forward, I forgot who said it. I saw it in one of these memes or one of these messages. But like how you act as an entity, as a company, as a doctor now, and it's not just whatever business you're in. How you act now is going to affect the public's perception of you moving forward the next 5, 10 years.
Correct.
And the thing is, the fact that we are able and willing to see patients who are in need speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Now, moving forward, after everything is done, there's no way we don't change our behavior moving forward. I mean, how many of us are going to go, let's say, optimistically, May 1st rolls around and everything's back open. How many of us are going to go back in the clinic and not wear gloves and not wear a mask and not disinfect the heck out of everything? Did we do that before? No. We're going to do this now?
Yep.
Yes. And I think that's going to instill some more confidence in the public. When they come in, they say, okay, they're taking this seriously. They're going to make sure I don't get anything. They're going to make sure that I'm taken care of and don't pick up anything here.
Right.
So that's another thing that we can do moving forward. That's really going to instill some confidence in your patient base.
Yeah, I feel like that's the number one thing I would do if I owned a practice. I would create a set of protocol or a standard operating procedure of some sort that says, look, this is the protocol we're going to follow for keeping this place clean, sanitized, and free of anything, even the freaking common cold. And make that schedule, not only make the staff know it inside and out like a rule book, but also advertise that to patients in a friendly and positive way, and invest in the crafting of that message, whether there's graphics to put around it or video or something fun. Because if I'm going to go to a doctor's office, no matter what it was, in say a month or two from now, the first thing I'm going to think of is, is that office going to be clean? But if they proactively reached out to me or on social media or something to say, look, here's what we are doing, I'd feel so much better going back there. So while everyone's got downtime right now, figure out what you're going to do when it comes to bouncing back. Stop reading the headlines and start being proactive. Does OSHA have guidelines? Great question. I don't know. Probably.
OSHA already has guidelines.
Okay. Yep.
I don't know if they changed it for the new reality,
right?
But they already have guidelines,
right?
And the thing is, we were already following CDC guidelines. I'm sure those are going to change, but yeah, it's not just what do we say? Perception is reality, right?
That's right.
If you are out there ahead of the curve, getting the message out there to your patient base, whether that's like you said, email, social media, a sign on the front door, whatever, to let the patients know. And they have this perception of you as being forward thinking, taking care of us, making sure we don't get sick when we go to your office. That becomes a reality for them. It's like, hey, Dr. Tu is taking care of me.
Yep. Yeah, and it's going to be awkward for people to be like, oh, trying to qualify, oh, this is why I'm wearing the mask or this is why I'm wearing gloves. But I think it's going to give patients more comfort than we may perceive. And so we'll see. I'm sure there'll be lots of content and guidelines and recommendations on what to do once we get to that point. And, we're always thinking, as an organization, we're always thinking about how to help practices with marketing ideas. So maybe we'll create something.
I'm sure you're going to come up with something next week.
Yeah. I really appreciate you jumping on. I wish you all the best navigating and leading COA into the future. And, I appreciate everything COA is putting out there for doctors. Anything else you want to close with?
No, man, I just really appreciate the platform that you've given me to talk about COA, to try to get people to use the resources we have on coavision.org. And for those who are out there who are still on the fence about being a member, it's free.
Yep.
The next 2 months, it's free.
Yeah, be a member.
Really
it's
no reason.
totally worth it. It's just a must. It's just our responsibility as ODs more than ever. We're seeing some great comments here. Thank you. Love COA. COA thumbs up. Yeah, we got some good.
By the way, when you sign up for COA, guess what's included? AOA.
Yep.
And your local society. Everything's included in there. So all the resources that all of us offer, I mean, our big brothers, AOA, they are a great resource also. They have resources that we didn't have. So what do? We put a link on our site to go to their site.
Right.
We all work together. We're all in this together. We're going to help each other through this.
Yep. We got this. Great message. Appreciate everyone's comments out there. I hope everyone's got a fun weekend. Stretch the legs a little bit. Get outside. 6 feet. If you see me, 6 feet, please. No, I'm kidding. Jason, we'll catch up soon. We'll get some drinks or dinner or something like that. And wish you the best, my friend.
All right, dude. Thanks
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Take care.